There are times in life when you give your all. You pour in your heart and it still doesn't work out. You try again and you fail. You give it another shot and you fall short again. And before long, the enemy whispers in your ear, it's not going to happen. You failed too many times. This dream isn't for you. But let me tell you today, failure is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're still in the fight. Some of the greatest victories in history were born in the ashes of repeated defeat. 1,000 failures don't make you a loser. They make you stronger, wiser, and more prepared than someone who never tried at all. You might be down, but you're not out. You may have fallen, but you still have breath in your lungs. And as long as you have breath, you have another chance. Every setback is not working against you. It's working for you. You might not see it right now, but in every disappointment, there's a hidden lesson. In every closed door, there's a redirection. That rejection you felt, it's pointing you towards something greater than you imagined. That failure you hate, it's shaping you into the kind of person who can handle the victory when it comes. If you got what you wanted too soon, it might crush you, but after the refining, the testing, and yes, even the failing, you'll be ready, not just to receive the blessing, but to keep it. And here's the truth. Persistence is more powerful than talent. Talent can open a door, but persistence will keep it open. You might not be the smartest, the most gifted, or the most connected, but if you refuse to quit, there's nothing that can stop you. People may count you out. Circumstances may look impossible, but the impossible is the perfect stage for a miracle. So keep going. Get up that 1,001st time. Dust yourself off. Look in the mirror and say, I'm still here. I'm still standing. I will not quit. Because the victory you've been waiting for might be just one more try away. Failure is not the end. It's proof that you're still in the fight. So many people see failure as a stop sign, as a final judgment, as if one closed door means every door will be closed forever. But failure is not a period at the end of your story. It's a comma, a pause, a moment where you catch your breath and learn something new before turning the next page. If you failed, it means you've had the courage to try. And that's already something worth celebrating, because there are so many who never even take the first step out of fear. Every time you step out, every time you put yourself on the line, you're telling the world that you're not afraid to live, that you believe there's more for you than the safe, predictable routine. And if you can keep that mindset, then failure becomes nothing more than part of the journey. It's a temporary setback, not a permanent label. Think about it. If you failed 100 times, that's 100 experiences you've had. 100 times you pushed yourself. 100 times you found the courage to face uncertainty. Each one has made you stronger, more resilient, more aware of what works and what doesn't. Most people want success without the struggle, but it's in the struggle that you develop the strength to handle success. If everything came easy, you wouldn't know how to stand when the storms come. But because you've been knocked down, because you've had to fight your way through, you've learned how to get back up, how to adapt, how to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to give up. Failure is like a mirror. It shows you who you are in the hard times. Anybody can look confident when they're winning. But it's when you lose that your character is revealed. Do you walk away? Do you throw in the towel? Or do you dust yourself off and say, this didn't work out, but I'm not finished yet? You see, the moment you stop trying is the only moment you truly fail. As long as you're still in the fight, as long as you're still showing up, you haven't lost. You're just in the process of winning. Many people we admire today, the ones we call successful, didn't just succeed on their first attempt. They went through seasons of repeated defeat. But instead of seeing each failure as proof they weren't good enough, they saw it as proof they were still trying, still moving, still in the game. That's what you need to hold on to. Every time you fail, it's evidence that you haven't quit, that you're still believing in the dream inside you. There's a temptation after repeated setbacks to think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm just not meant to do this. But the very fact that the dream is still alive inside you, that you still have the desire to see it come to pass, means it is for you. That longing wouldn't be there if you weren't capable of achieving it. Failure doesn't change the dream. It changes you, prepares you, shapes you into the person who can handle the dream when it becomes reality. it's important to understand that failure isn't wasted. It may feel like you lost time, lost energy, or lost opportunities, but in truth, every failure is building something in you. It's teaching you patience, humility, creativity, and perseverance. Sometimes the lessons are small: how to handle rejection with grace, how to work more efficiently, how to communicate more clearly. Sometimes they're big: how to rebuild when everything falls apart, how to stand strong when you feel weak, how to find joy even in the darkest seasons. But all of them are shaping you into the kind of person who doesn't just win once, but keeps winning over a lifetime. You can't let the fear of control you. If you failed before, don't replay it in your mind until it becomes a prison. Instead, take the lesson and let the rest go. What's behind you is behind you. Your future is ahead, and you can't walk forward while staring backward. Your energy, your focus, your passion, they're needed for what's next, not what's past. When you keep your eyes on what's ahead, failure becomes nothing more than a stepping stone to something greater. There's also power in refusing to let failure define your identity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your defeats. You are not your missed opportunities. You are who you choose to be in the face of those things. You can choose to say, "This didn't work out, but I'm still worthy, I'm still capable, and I'm still going after my dream." That's the mindset that separates those who give up from those who win in the end. Sometimes the battle isn't with the circumstances, it's with yourself. It's the voice inside your head that says, "It's too late. You tried too many times. You're wasting your time." But you have to silence that voice. You have to tell yourself, "I am still here. I am still standing. I am still in the fight." Even if you feel tired, even if you feel worn out, even if you don't see how it's going to work out, if you can just keep moving, you keep the possibility of victory alive. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Each time you stumble, each time you lose your footing, you might slide back a little. It's frustrating, it's discouraging, but you're still further up the mountain than the person who never started. And with each climb, you're getting stronger. Your footing is getting more secure. Your vision of the top is getting clearer. One day, you'll look back and realize that the stumbles weren't setbacks. They were part of what made the view from the top so meaningful. Failure doesn't have the final word unless you give it the final word. The final word belongs to you, to your persistence, to your decision to keep going no matter how many times you've been knocked down. You can take every no you've ever received, every disappointment you've ever faced, and turn it into fuel. Let it remind you that you're not finished yet. Let it push you to try again, to show up again, to believe again. And here's the truth: every failure is proof that you were willing to act on your faith. Faith isn't just believing when things are going well. Faith is believing when nothing is working, when the doors are closed, when the road is long and lonely. Every time you step out in faith, even if it ends in failure, you're building something unshakable inside yourself. You're proving that you have the courage to keep walking even in the dark. And one day that courage will carry you straight into the victory you've been waiting for. So if you failed once, twice, 100 times, even 1,000 times, don't hang your head in shame. Lift your chin, square your shoulders, and remind yourself, you're still here, you're still fighting, and that means your story is still being written. The end hasn't been decided yet, and as long as you keep turning the pages, there's still room for a chapter called Victory. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. It's easy to see setbacks as punishment, as proof that something is wrong, as a sign that we've taken the wrong path. But the truth is, life often uses delays and disappointments to position us for something far greater than what we originally had in mind. Just because things didn't go the way you planned doesn't mean they're not going the way they should. What you see as a closed door may be the very thing that protects you from walking into something that could harm you. What you see as a loss may be the exact situation that forces you to grow in ways that prepare you for what's ahead. Every great comeback story begins with a moment that looked like the end, a moment when all hope seemed lost. And yet that was the very turning point that set the stage for victory. Sometimes the setup is hidden in the disappointment. You didn't get the promotion, and you thought your career had stalled. But months later, you realized that rejection opened the door to an opportunity far beyond what you could have imagined. You went through a relationship breakup and thought you'd never love again. But that heartache pushed you to discover your own strength, and eventually you found something deeper and healthier than you'd ever known. Setbacks are often the universe's way of rearranging the pieces so that when the right moment comes, everything will align perfectly. It's important to understand that comebacks are rarely instant. The bigger the comeback, the more significant the setup needs to be. When you plant a seed, you don't see the fruit right away. For a long time, it's hidden under the soil, developing roots, being nourished, taking shape. The same is true with your life. The setback may look like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, there is preparation, there is growth, there is unseen movement that will one day burst forth in a way that makes all the waiting worth it. When you're in the middle of a setback, your perspective can make all the difference. If you see it as the end, you'll give up, you'll lose hope, you'll stop trying. But if you see it as a setup, you'll look for the lessons, you'll look for the opportunities, you'll keep yourself ready so that when the moment comes, you can step into it fully prepared. You'll stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? That shift in mindset turns frustration into anticipation, because you know that this isn't the end of your story, it's the middle of your preparation. Think about the times in your past when something you thought was terrible actually turned out to be for your good. At the time, you were disappointed, maybe even heartbroken. But later, with distance, you could see how it all worked together, how the timing was just right, how the loss made room for something better. That's what happens when you trust that every setback has a purpose. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and say, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. The greater the destiny, the greater the preparation. And preparation often comes disguised as difficulty. The challenges you face during a setback are not meant to break you. They're meant to build you. You're going to step into something great. You need the strength to carry it. You need the wisdom to manage it. You need the patience to sustain it. A quick victory without preparation can be a short-lived one. But a victory that comes after you've been tested will last. That's why the setback is so important. It's the training ground, the refining process, the season where you're being shaped for the comeback you're destined for. And here's the truth. Comebacks are more powerful because of the setbacks that precede them. Without the setback, the comeback would be just another day. But when you've been knocked down, counted out, overlooked, and you rise again, there's something in that victory that's unshakable. It's not just about winning. It's about proving to yourself that you can endure, that you can keep going even when every reason to quit is staring you in the face. That confidence becomes part of you, and it changes how you face the next challenge. Sometimes the setup involves removing things from your life that you didn't even realize were holding you back. You might lose a job, a friendship, or an opportunity. And at first, it feels like the worst thing that could happen. But over time, you realize it makes space for something far better. You realize that what you thought you needed was actually keeping you from what you truly needed. Setbacks have a way of clearing the path so you can run toward your destiny without unnecessary weight. It's also important to keep your heart soft during setbacks. When we face disappointment, it's easy to get bitter, to close ourselves off, to stop expecting good things. But bitterness will keep you stuck in the setback, while hope will keep you moving toward the comeback. No matter how many times you've been let down, keep expecting something good. Keep believing that your best days are ahead, not behind. That expectation is what positions you to recognize the comeback when it starts to unfold. A great comeback is never just about you. It's about the people your story will inspire. When others see you rise after a fall, when they watch you get back up after every disappointment, it gives them the courage to keep going in their own battles. Your comeback will not only change your life, it will spark hope in the lives of those who witness it. That's another reason setbacks are setups. They prepare you to be a living testimony of what's possible when you don't quit. Remember, the size of the setback often matches the size of the comeback. If you're facing something that feels overwhelming, something that seems too big to recover from, that might be a sign that what's coming is equally massive. Don't measure your future by your current struggle. Measure it by the faithfulness you've seen in the past, by the times you've been brought through situations you thought would break you. If it happened before, it can happen again. And this time, it might be even greater. Even when the path feels unclear, trust that you're not being left behind. You're being set apart. The delay is not denial, it's alignment. The disappointment is not destruction, it's direction. You are not stuck, you are being positioned. When the right time comes, you'll see that all the detours, all the waiting, all the tears were leading you exactly where you needed to be. And when you arrive, you'll realize that the victory is even sweeter because of the journey that brought you there. So the next time you face a setback, refuse to label it as the end. See it for what it truly is. A setup. Keep your head high, your spirit strong, and your eyes open for the opportunities hidden in the disappointment. Stay faithful in the small things. Stay consistent in your efforts. Stay hopeful in your heart. Because just when you think you've reached your limit, that's often the moment when the comeback begins to take shape. And when it comes, it will be greater than you imagined, bigger than you prayed for, and more fulfilling than you thought possible. Persistence turns impossibilities into testimonies. There are moments in life when what stands before you looks so unmovable, so unchangeable, that your mind says, there's no way. The odds seem stacked against you. The resources are limited. The doors are shut tight, and you can't see any path forward. That's when persistence becomes your greatest weapon. Persistence isn't about ignoring reality. It's about believing that reality can change. It's the decision to keep showing up, keep giving your best, and keep pressing forward even when nothing around you seems to move. Every great testimony you've ever heard was once a situation that looked impossible, but someone refused to let go. They refused to stop believing, and their persistence turned what seemed hopeless into a story of victory. Persistence is powerful because it's consistent. You don't have to make giant leaps every day. You just have to keep moving forward. Even the smallest step taken consistently has the power to wear down the biggest obstacle. Think of water dripping on a stone. One drop doesn't do anything. 100 drops seem to make no difference. But over time, those drops carve out a path, slowly shaping something that looked unshakable. That's what persistence does. It chips away at impossibilities until they have no choice but to move. The challenge is that persistence often feels like it's not working. You show up day after day, and nothing changes. You pray, you work, you hope, and still, the situation looks the same. That's where many people give up. Not because the problem was unbeatable, but because they stopped too soon. What they didn't realize is that the breakthrough might have been one more try away. Persistence means you keep going even when you can't see the results yet, trusting that something is happening beneath the surface, something that will one day break through into the visible. Persistence also changes you while you wait. It builds endurance, it strengthens your resolve, it deepens your faith. When you're persistent, you learn how to fight through discouragement, how to push past the temptation to settle, how to stand strong even when you feel weak. These are qualities that don't just help you reach one goal. They shape the kind of person who can keep achieving and overcoming throughout life. And when you finally see the breakthrough, it's not just the situation that has changed, you have changed too. The beautiful thing about persistence is that it doesn't require you to be the most talented, the most connected, or the most gifted. Talent can open a door, but persistence will keep it open. Many people start strong but fade when things get hard. But if you keep showing up, you'll outlast the opposition, outlast the doubts, outlast the obstacles. Over time, persistence wears down resistance. Some of the most remarkable victories in history came from people who simply refused to quit. They faced ridicule, rejection, and repeated failure, yet they got back up every single time. What looked impossible at first became inevitable because they wouldn't stop moving toward it. The impossible can't withstand relentless determination forever. Eventually it has to yield. Your situation may look fixed, but persistence has a way of unlocking doors that no one else can open. It's also important to understand that persistence doesn't mean doing the exact same thing over and over without change. Sometimes persistence means adjusting your strategy while keeping your goal in sight. It's being willing to learn, adapt, and try a new approach without losing your commitment to the outcome. That flexibility combined with determination is often the key to turning impossibility into reality. When you look at the lives of people who have powerful testimonies, you'll notice something. They didn't let delays discourage them. They understood that slow progress is still progress. The enemy of persistence is comparison, because when you see others getting results faster, you're tempted to think you're falling behind. But your journey isn't theirs. Your timeline is unique. What matters is that you keep moving forward at the pace that's right for you. Persistence has a way of attracting help at the right time. When people see that you're committed, that you've stayed the course despite challenges, they're more likely to come alongside you, offer support, and open doors you couldn't open on your own. Opportunities often show up for those who are still standing when others have walked away. Sometimes your persistence is the very thing that positions you for divine connections and timely breakthroughs. One of the most encouraging truths about persistence is that it turns your story into inspiration for others. When someone hears that you faced obstacle after obstacle, yet you kept going until you broke through, it gives them hope for their own situation. Your persistence becomes a testimony that what seems impossible can be overcome, and that message can reach far beyond your own life. And persistence isn't just about achieving something for yourself. It's about proving that the impossible is not permanent. When you keep pressing forward, you show others that circumstances can change, that doors can open, that what looks like the end can be the beginning of something new. That's why persistence is more than just a personal trait, it's a legacy. Sometimes the hardest part of persistence is dealing with the silence, the seasons where you see no progress, hear no encouragement, and feel like nothing is moving. But that's when persistence is doing its deepest work. Just because you can't see the roots growing doesn't mean the tree isn't getting stronger. In the quiet seasons, you're developing the kind of inner strength that no storm can uproot. If you ever feel like quitting, remember why you started. Go back to the vision that ignited your heart. Let it remind you that the fight is worth it. Persistence draws its strength from purpose. When you know that what you're chasing matters, you find the courage to keep going no matter how hard it gets. Eventually, there comes a moment when the impossible begins to shift. It may start small, a small opportunity, a bit of progress, a glimmer of change. But persistence recognizes these moments and seizes them. And once that momentum starts, what seemed unreachable becomes reality faster than you imagined. That's when your story turns into a testimony, not just of what you achieved, but of the determination, faith, and resilience that brought you there. So keep pressing forward. Keep taking the next step. Keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. Every day you persist, you're moving closer to turning that impossibility into a victory. And when you finally see it happen, you'll look back and realize that the waiting, the working, the refusing to give up were all worth it. Because in the end, persistence doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes you, and it turns your life into a living example of what's possible when you refuse to quit.